Discovery, go at throttle up. Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yo. What's going on, everybody? Did you like the pasta music? Did you like the pasta? Is it nice? Is it nice music? It's very nice. No? Maybe? Yeah, buddy. We will have the pasta. You will like it. It is nice. So how's everybody doing? Everybody doing well? It's Friday. Today is Friday in California. Shoot! Yeah? Sounds inspiring. Okay. Want to play some Kerbal today? Yes? No? Maybe? You're in California? Well, you need to tell us. Is it Friday, though? Verbal.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Pop. 51 months. Twitch is forcing you to click this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What time is Space News tonight? 7? So we got a good, 6 hours to mess with KSP and do the other things. Hey, Cobra. What's going on? Congrats on the F News, by the way. Maybe Ferrari can actually be good in the future. Maybe Ferrari can be good in the future. Yeah. 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 Sure. That could work. Okay. Afternoon. How are we today? I'm good, Dino. How are you? So yeah, I'm gonna be doing Space News on NSF's channel tonight with Jack and Sawyer. I have check this out. We're not even gonna have to disconnect the stream. Not enabled, right? But we have oh boy, we got the standby screen ready to go. So actually, for Space News, guys, you're not gonna have to go anywhere. That's the NSF feed. Straight up NSF feed right there. I'm just going to go AFK for about, 30 minutes or something. And then there you go. 7 p.m. Eastern. Yep, so, yeah, we can just jump right in. It'll just be like switching to regular Space News. Only, yeah, I'll have Jack and Sawyer with me. Which will be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to hanging around with them. We got some pretty good stuff to talk about. So, should be good. Should be good. I changed your title to reflect. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry, NASA posted this. Hold on. I need to see pictures of the mobile launcher. Is this going to be a monthly program for you? It's a pilot, Jim. We'll see where it takes us. Sound suppression test. And pad deluge. Very nice. Very nice. Nice. Yeah, let's see what EGS is working on. I wonder if they have any pictures of ML2 hanging around. Because when I was down there and we took the KSCVC tour, definitely saw a lot of components for ML2 being staged. There's the CDR right there, the Critical Design Review, which for ML2, which CDR is the last thing you do before you put things together, which is weird because they're already putting things together. My guess is that CDR is for the bits of the mobile launcher that are changed. There are ML2 pictures in the recent NSF flyover. Yeah, okay, here.
2024
here's
is
Ryan.
going to be an intense year on the space.
All right, if you guys want to watch this whole video, just check it out. I'm just here for ML2 parts. There's Adrian. Where are you? Oh, hey, nice. Won't you cover this later? There's a reason why I said go watch the video elsewhere. Nice. Airplane. New primitive tech? Oh, was there a new primitive? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Love that guy. I mean, dude, look at this. This is all race cars, rockets, and... Race cars, rockets, and vans. And trains. That's all it is. It's all my freaking YouTube feed is. It's race cars, rockets, and trains. Oh, God. And then there's some bardcore in there, too. That's awesome. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, 1058. What are we looking at there? That's big. New Glen's is doing its thing. Adrian. Yeah, there we go. Where's the ML parts? I'm not sure what that building is. I think that's up on the north side by the SLF, if I had to guess. Slick 37. There's a New Glenn S2 tank in lock section for S1. Yep. I was just down there, dude. I was driving all up in here like 2 or 3 days ago. That facility is freaking huge. And it's funny because they're paving a new road. They're making this road right here a wider road. And the other side has a very thick subgrade for moving heavy stuff around. And I thought that was funny. Here, let's see. Oh, they're talking about slide wires. 1546. Yep. There it is. So, I don't know if the NSF video mentions this, but if you notice this shuttle mobile launcher, it has a bunch of concrete blocks on it. They're using that for testing. For the weight. You see all the blocks? NASA's pulling that down the crawlerway to make sure that it doesn't sink. Don't sink. Don't sink. Pull up. You get nothing. Nuglins is coming. Yep. Can I get a D20? No. Guys, you know that rolling the ads right now is not going to do anything. No one's going to get an ad because it's too close to the pre-roll. Yeah. Ad time doesn't really work right now. No one's going to get anything. I rolled an 8 anyway. See? Is there such thing as a metal reinforced road? No. I mean, there's reinforced concrete. If you have a reinforced concrete road, it's concrete with a metal lattice inside of it. You just wanted to blow your channel points. Hey, you got the blowing part right. You blow. Anyway, so I'm just kidding. So check this out. Look, interesting. So see this trapezoidal structure right there? Your mom sucks. What? See this trapezoidal structure right there? That is on the sides for this ML. It would be like right for that mobile launcher. It's reinforced. The reason why is, once again, see, they're testing weight. SLS is going to be by far and away the heaviest thing ever rolled out of the VAB, or it is the heaviest thing to roll out of the VAB. Still got to remind myself that actually happened. Anyway, it's the heaviest thing to roll out of the VAB. So the funny part is that the mobile launcher that SLS uses right now, ML1, right, was built for Ares 1, and it was not built to carry the weight. So it's interesting that in the with the new mobile launcher with ML2, they've built reinforcement into it. Fun fact, that thing was so freaking heavy, it was bending the mobile launcher. Yeah. Funny. This render from Bechdel. Bechtel. It's too freaking heavy. Well, not too heavy, but yeah. Okay, all right. Why? Works as good as the launcher does. Yeah, see the reinforcement right there? It's a very nice shuttle you got there, Bechtel. Yeah, they put some hard reinforcement on this thing. All right, is this happening right now? All right, here, let's zoom back, get back to 100. Yeah, way heavier than Saturn and Dodo. Yeah, solid rocket boosters, man. 5 segments, solid. Yeah, but is this happening right now? Bro, are you freaking kidding? They unironically have 400 by 600 images on their... Vulcan, why? I'm partially blaming you. Partially, but not mostly, not like entirely, but also. This company makes nuclear power plants, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. Damn, Hellfish. Cheers to the best science and engineering streamer. Thanks, man. Thanks for the bits, man. Okay. What? Why? Why? Kerbal time? Kerbal time. Anyway. Now that that's out of the way, the hell is this? Capture your best moments in KSP2 without played. The hell is this? Relive the action and share it with your friends? What? Yeah. No, I'm good, thanks. All right, we got to get the patch notes up for got to get the patch notes up for this. I have the dev update from Ness. Alright, here we go. This patch came out on Tuesday, guys. Let's see what's going on here. Thanks, Phil. This is 210. Wait, are we on 210? I'm not. I'm on 2 on the dot. Huh. Gotta update it. Update queued. Alright, cool. We'll update Kerbal. Alright, let's see what we got. Game crashes when moving an assembly in the VAB with the nose cone as the anchor part in any non-single symmetry mode. Okay. Stack separators placed below a vessel root part do not separate correctly, causing destruction of the vessel. Clicking on the orthographic cube while holding apart deletes it. They fixed that. Fixed. An exception is thrown when changing the launch assembly in the VAB, affecting the functionality of the Delta V tools. Loading a vessel in the VAB shows magenta cubes for a few seconds. Yeah, I saw that. Environments. Black dots show on Joule when observing the planet from the surface. Fixed. Galaxy skybox does not rotate in some situations. Fixed. Stars are too dim when orbiting celestial bodies. Fixed. Lighting on vessels orbiting Kerbal at a semi-major axis of 23 billion flickers. Okay. Fixed. Running a surface survey when planting a flag in the flag results in the Kerbal becoming uncontrollable. Fixed. Running a crew observation from the part action menu on a Kerbal EVA does not show any animation. Added new Kerbal variety assets from the exploration release to KSC Kerbals. Fixed. Kerbal rocket pin haircut does not receive correct hair colors. Okay. Flight. Fixed. Orbital drift compensation did not take axial tilt into account consistently, leading to the additional drift near celestial bodies with axial tilt. Okay. Fixed. Orbital drift compensation decreases in quality over time. Fixed. Decouplers require 2 clicks to stage. Fixed. LT5 Bandicoot landing legs collapse due to minimum weight when any weight is applied. Okay. Fixed. Vessel and KSC icons on the map are too large, particularly when close to the camera. Okay. Fixed. Switching to mission control when paused in flight hangs the game. Fixed. Shielded dock. Highlighting everything makes it want to quote things. Shield and docking ports cannot be undocked after a reload. Fixed. Shielded docking ports can dock when closed. Fixed. Vessel collision with water often destroys the first part. Fixed. Heat shield automated fairings cause aerodynamic occlusion to parts near them. Fixed. The vessel becomes active and the scene is switched automatically to flight view of the vessel. Fixed. Jet engines cannot be deactivated until throttle down to 0. Fixed. Surface teleport tool doesn't work in non-English languages. Fixed. Surface teleport tool shows incorrect maximum altitude values for some celestial bodies. Added a new color theme to both A and B intersect nodes on the map. Adjusted colors and iconography associated with intersect nodes on the map. Fixed. Flight report does not appear when crashing a vessel if previously launched vessel has been recovered. Added a delay before showing the flight report after a vessel crashes. Fixed. The velocity readout in the flight HUD only shows 4 significant figures. FX and audio. Adjusted re-entry VFX trigger points to more closely correlate with the start of re-entry heating. Fixed. Heat shields do not show heat glow during re-entry. Fixed. Procedural wings do not show heat glow during re-entry. Localization. Fixed. Missing localization in some terms in the mission control screen. Fixed. Missing spaces in some languages in several sections of the part info in the VAB. Fixed. Incorrect localization for research reports collected around Dres. Fixed. Incorrect localization for research reports collected around Joule. Menus and settings. Fixed. Using the teleport tool with the maximum AP selected teleports the vessel Using the teleport tool with the maximum AP selected teleports the vessel slightly outside of the target celestial body. Oh, okay. Fixed. Cheat menu can become locked into a box on the screen and cannot be moved outside of its boundaries. Okay. Fixed. Time warp controls are still available when exiting to the main menu with a gameplay session. Fixed. Part poses for some menu animations are incorrect. Missions and tutorials. Fixed. Numerous errors in mission text. Fixed. Mission debrief text is repeated in Minmus Monument mission. Added a waypoint to guide the player as part of the Tertiary Dibs Platinum mission. Tertiary, okay. Fixed an orange arrow marker persists on the map during the tutorial establishing an orbit. Optimization. Fix several memory leaks when launching or loading vessels. Cool. There's a lot of stuff in here, dudes. Parts and stock vessels. Reduced atmospheric shock heating in the upper 45% of most of the... reduced atmospheric shock heating in the upper 45% of most atmosphere significantly. Okay. Increased heat transport away from parts in the top 20% of most atmospheres. Increased stack decoupler and separator thermal masses by up to 3 times. Increased unshielded docking port thermal masses by 1.5 times. Increased temperature tolerance to 800 K. Increased thermal mass of light procedural wing stabilizers and control surfaces by 1.5. Increased thermal mass of medium procedural wing stabilizers and control surfaces by 1.75 times. Increased temperature tolerances to 1350. Increased thermal mass of spaceplane procedural wing stabilizers and control surfaces by 1.2 times. Surface detached lights don't function when first launching a vessel. Okay. Fixed solar panel occlusion is not calculated correctly near and past Joule. Improve RSCM-01 sample grabber arm incorrectly deploys in many situations. Fixed. Crater Crusher stock vessel has its solar panels incorrectly oriented. Saving and loading. The burn timer windows does not show staging events after loading a save with an active maneuver. Fixed. Vessels lose functionality if loading a save that was made out of flight mode in certain situations. Fixed. Reverting to VAB with multiple vessels on the runway causes one of them to be unusable. Okay, on to science. Change the behavior of experiments that take time. They will no longer pause when leaving a valid research location and will instead enter a suspended state until you return to the original region, where they will restart without player input. Fixed. The science action button flashes for already completed experiments. Fixed. Orbital surveys do not work in low or high Kerbal orbit. Fixed. Using the transmit all button in the research inventory retransmits already completed experiments. Okay, pretty significant patch there. That's a lot of stuff. A lot of small things fixed there. Good.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Gotsar. Favorite teacher ever. Thank you. You're welcome. So what's the plan for Kerbal 2 today? I don't know. Let's go test it. Hey, Van. 55 months. Thanks, Van. How are you? Alright, let's see what we got. We didn't really get any editor control fixes. Ugh. Okay. Oh yeah, we were working on our service module for the capsule there. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I still saw boxes there, but they weren't magenta. They were like orange. Orange, you glad? Atuz agonat. Indeed. Cool. Okay. All right. Make a DC-10? Better controls? No. Grillian, no. I don't see any better editor controls. I'm not seeing nothing like that. Dune a moment. I suspect that better controls will come with orbital construction. How much science do we have? We have 134. I'm thinking about what we could do. I actually saw Matt Lown do something that I thought was really cool, which is try to get anywhere with just like first tier parts. I mean, I do have some second tier parts unlocked, but they would be cool to try and do that. Yeah, we can keep using Jebstone, but yeah. Yeah, it's reversed Spanish. Kerbal speaks Spanish backwards. With a voice like this. Aloha, otat. Afternoon. Will your NSF stream be on here as well? Yeah, Sawyer. Yes, it will. I'll be able to just seamlessly switch back and forth, dude. Yep. Do you have any parts to make a space station yet? I don't know. Let me take a look. Nope. No station parts. Does that mean you're hosting the stream if you could switch seamlessly? Yeah, I have NSF's feed on this screen ready to go. It's not activated right now. But yeah, if you see the screen, that means we're gonna be moving in. Guys, you guys don't need to go anywhere for Space News. It'll be just like starting Space News at 7. Yeah, we'll simulcast it here, and we'll simulcast it on YouTube. See, I always get to this point when we're playing this, and I'm always like, okay, what do we do now? I mean, I'm kind of like, okay. Let's go to R&D, or not R&D, we're going to go to Mission Control. Wait, what did I miss with NSF and Space News? I'm doing Space News tonight at 7, and here, but it will be simulcast with NSF, and Jack and Sawyer. So, NASA Man and the Jack Blair. There are a lot of missions to do. So yeah, guys, I can just seamlessly switch back and forth, which is what I'll do. So yeah, you guys don't need to go anywhere. We're just starting Space News at 7. You guys don't need to go nowhere. The feed might go quiet for a little bit, but yeah, other than that, we're good. Lil Chonker, land a vessel on Minmus with a current mass over 200 tons. It's a pilot, Tipsy, we'll see. How far did you get with workers and resources? Vales, we got a good way into it. I started building out the highway. Does it mean launch mass? It says land a vessel with a current mass over 200 tons. See, I'm noticing some stuff with the science here. Like, the 200-ton Minmus vessel is 28 science points. But, guys, arguably that's way more difficult than a Duna mission that's 1,600 science points. So, what is the incentive to do this? Simultaneously, planting a flag on the moon, right, is a crewed mission to Kerbal, a crewed mission to the moon, which is arguably more difficult than just finding the source of, like, going to Duna orbit. I'm not really understanding why these missions are, like, why they have the science points that they do. And, like, okay, so here you have Cappy Rock. Cappy Rock's 320 science, right? But if you go and look, right? Let's go to the tracking station, right? Right, Cappy Rock's somewhere down here. Right? It's somewhere over here. Making a plane with tier 1 parts that goes all the way out there and comes back is difficult. That's going to be hard to do. I would say that's objectively the hardest thing here to do, comparatively to all the rest of this stuff, and yet it's only 320 science. No, I know. It's already in the bug list. All right, cool. 2 launch service providers have agreed to simultaneously operate from a single launch complex. Phantom Space and Viaspace signed a memorandum of agreement that outlines how the 2 companies will work concurrently at LC-13. Oh. This is from SATA News. Yeah, Van, I know what you mean. Importance to lore. Get out of here. LC-13, huh? Interesting. How much would we learn in real life flying a plane somewhere on Earth versus landing on Mars? I mean, NASA still flies Earth observation planes around to this day. It depends on what you're trying to figure out. Like, there was a lot of aerodynamic research that was done before NASA was made by the NACA, right? To, like, do environmental observations like that in meteorological stuff. Interestingly enough. And Jim Cantrell had a statement on it too. Oh. Oh, cool. Nice. Neato. I mean, yeah, but turn it into science points. No, yeah, no. A Mars landing would be way more, right? But see, okay, all right. Let me get more of what I'm getting at. Yeah, you're right here, but what I'm okay. So like the last mission, like, look, check this out. Plant a flag within an Imar on the moon. I haven't even gone to the moon yet with a Kerbal. I just landed there, and it's already giving me Duna missions, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's just this seems to be more of following lore and less about actually getting science. Like the lore is going to get you science, but planting a flag on sending a Kerbal to the surface of the moon doesn't get you very much science, which, like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, and in terms of like the actual missions, right? I would say that first dibs is harder to do than just landing something on Duna in terms of Kerbal, not in terms of real life. In real life, this is a lot more difficult. You know what I mean? But the fact that sending a person to the moon is a secondary objective in the game is kind of like, what? Wait, what? Are you kidding? That's kind of the reason why I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here because, like, I have that Duna mission. Yeah, send something to Duna right now. Easy peasy. It gets 1,600 science, right? This doesn't put emphasis on actually going and doing the missions that would generate the science in real life. You know what I mean? And I get it. Like, I get it. It's about lore. I understand that. Like, it's just, yeah. Where's our lunar base mission? Where's learning how to live in space? Where's the space station stuff? You know what I mean? But then again, we don't have space station modules unlocked. But you did virtually no crewed missions in KSP2's campaign. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Gunny. Yeah. Not like a huge gripe. It's just something like I got to this point when we last played KSP2. I got to this point and I'm like, what? The missions were kind of tooling me up for a lunar landing, and then I was like, okay, cool. And then it's like, no, we're done with that. Secondary objective. Check out Duna. So like, and keep in mind, it's early access, and like I could tell them about this, and that's probably what I'll do. It's like, so we found a mysterious signal on the moon. I landed something near it. We investigated. We found something on Minmus. We landed there, investigated, and now they're like, oh, it's at Duna now. So how are we getting that signal? How are we doing that? How do we know what the signal looks like? Like, see what I'm saying? There could be so much more opportunity for progressive science missions if we did find something like this. And don't get me wrong, they're probably working on it. It's just, I really would like it if the lunar missions didn't, or the missions weren't, like, the lore was the ultimate goal, but progressive science missions in there. So, like, you wouldn't go to Duna before you went to the Mun, like in Kerbal 1, unless you really knew what you were doing, right? You would go to the moon first. Everyone goes to the moon first, and then Minmus. And some people even skip Minmus and go to Duna, but, like, it's just, and that, don't get me wrong, that is what the missions did. But yeah, before NASA in real life, before NASA would even think about sending anything to Mars, we'd go back to the moon. But then again, we went to the moon, then came back, never went there again, and then went to Mars. So, but we're talking about like an ideal space program here. Either way. Yeah, Charles, maybe. I just, like, as a player, just as a regular Kerbal player, I got to this point and I'm like, planting a flag on the moon, which is arguably, like, a Kerbal player's rite of passage is not even incentivized, which is very interesting to me. Yeah, Gunny, exactly. Stuff like that. How did they figure out they just pointed an antenna at Duna just randomly and it's like, okay, we got the signal there. You know? Did we need a communications array? Like, do we need a relay satellite? Maybe put an observation satellite around Duna. It's like, no. Find the source of the mysterious signal on the surface. We know it's absolutely on the surface. Like, okay. How do we know where it is on the surface? How can we see this? You know? Other than that, though, yeah, this is all like minor stuff. This stuff could be tweaked. Maybe the signals weren't transmitting until the previous artifact was activated. It'd be cool if that was explained, Wolfie. Sure. Hey, Fung, what's going on? Anyway, just something I was kind of noodling on. All right, let's go back over here. I was working on... Yeah, we were working on a capsule. Do we have a launch escape system? No. There's no LES. Okay. TLDR of the new patch. Lots of small fixes here and there, dude. That's later on the tech tree, which is kind of... Yeah, okay. Did I miss it? It's under landing utilities. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, Neslick, I'm doing all right. Did you see the Timberborn patch today? They changed it so on easy and normal, the first bad tide is only 1 day. Oh. No, I haven't. I'm checking out the patch for Kerbal. Here, let's, you know what we'll do? Let's just shoot off Jebstone C, and we'll see if see what's going on here. Hey, Thiek. There was a lot of bug fixes in the patch that came out on Tuesday, but we'll see. I went through the patch notes just a second ago. I didn't see anything glaring that's like going to change the game so much, right? Like, it's not like, oh, that's good. I mean, it looks like they did fix orbital drift a little bit, which is good. I'm going to move myself right here for now. How much payload could you get out of this thing with a couple of GEM-63 XLs? Yeah, yes you could. That's the answer to that. Okay, rate's looking good. Everything is A-okay here. Getting a little bit of overheat up top. Throttling back.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Dankin. Welcome to Mission Control. You go at throttle up. We're still overheating the fairing because we're going too fast in the lower parts of the atmosphere. I don't know why it's heating then up like that, but whatever. Stand by for upper stage ignition. Upper stage ignition confirmed. The lack of KSP-1 claw is annoying. It makes missions like space station building, refueling, collection of probes from Duna extremely difficult. Yeah. Dude, honestly, I don't mind any of this. I wouldn't mind any of this. I need the better editor controls. I just can't engineer stuff to the fidelity that I can engineer it in KSP1, that's all. Like, that's really all I need. Just the SPH controls in KSP2, we'd be building crazy stuff right now. Like, is the heating better now? Yeah, it's okay. I mean, the other thing is that it's hard to teach anybody anything with this. Like, you know, Kerbal has all these readouts, you have rates, you have all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, they'll add more. Getting this back was a huge improvement. But I can't see what the arrow is doing. If I can't see what it's doing aerodynamically, like, it's really hard to try and teach you guys anything. What editor controls are missing? Absolute grid snap, panable camera. There's a bunch of stuff, dude. I mean, Blue Flare, I don't mind the performance drop. That doesn't bother me at all. You know, it's cool. It gives me more time to talk about what I'm doing. Is the second stage or the first stage still around? No, game gobbled it up. That's another thing. The game just gobbles up anything that goes out of render range. In Kerbal, when you're in the atmosphere, things don't delete themselves unless they're 21 or 20 kilometers away from you, and or below 25 kilometers relative to the surface. Yeah, this probably isn't going to end well. Re-entry effects look real good, though. Like, it's really hard for me to tell how the thermal is being transmitted through the stack, you know? But then again, KSP1 didn't have that for a little while either. I think the re-entry effects are great, dude. They look fine to me. I would love to build out like a panel shuttle for this. I'd love to do it. Love to. but I can't, like I couldn't build a part tessellator. I couldn't build a panel tessellator in KSP2. There's no way that's possible. Hey, Tessa. Would you do panels or procedural wings? You would need to do panels for some of it, Jim. You can't make the whole thermal protection system out of wings. That's the whole point. Or else it'll generate way too much lift. But then again, I don't know that for sure because I don't know how this arrow works, you know? Because I kind of can't see what the arrow's doing. There's no F11. There's no arrow menu, you know? Hey, Tessa. Hey, WD-40. Yeah. So, Wolf Musk, I accelerated too fast going up and out of the atmosphere. That's all. That's because the way I have this thing configured right now, it basically doesn't have any payload. So it accelerates too fast. Yeah. You don't want to get re-entry heating on the way up. So, like, I kind of went too fast, too quickly. You need to mess with your thrust to weight ratio doing that, but yeah, we're still going up right now. It wasn't the best entry from me, but it was pretty good. Did you happen to apply to the Crew 8 NASA Social? I just got my decision email. Oh. No, I haven't. Crew 8? When the hell is Crew 8? Oh boy. $22nd. Have you installed any KSP2 mods yet? Nope. Satisfactory 1.0 closed beta is free to sign up for everyone. Cool. Maneuver node did the the menu, the maneuver menu didn't update. Huh. That's weird. Hey, Tech, what's going on? Hanging and banging, you know, my guy. What do you think needs to be done to fix the FPS? You know, Hippo, believe it or not, the FPS is not my, that's not my deal breaker. I don't care. I played Kerbal 1 for a decade with crappy frames. That doesn't bother me. I'm... Yeah, exactly, Gunny. Yeah, for real, dude. That like doesn't. Yeah, none of that bothers me. I'm. Like, okay, look. I'm trying to rendezvous with something here. How I can't even see where it is. Like in KSP1, we'd have some kind of blip in case unless I'm just not doing this right. I don't remember. Like, I'm trying to see if I can rendezvous with this thing. And yeah, I have the targeting nodes there and there, but it's set as target already. It's not showing up. Like, where's my target indicator? Shouldn't there be a blip for it? Let me see. Quick save and reload. Okay. Oh, there it is. Was that not there before, or am I just stupid? Alright, that's going to get us 320 meters away. Cool. It's dark. I could fall into a precipice. Take that, you winged spawn of Satan! Die, devil bird! Ah! Yes, Loot. Oh, you're my hero, buddy. I'm trying to rendezvous here, man. Damn it. Oh, boy. Huh? It's gonna be hard to do an approach burn with this thing. Guano balls. Collect the whole set. Oh my god. Darkness imprisoning me. All that I see. Starry skies. I change the lyrics so I don't get copyright strike. Napster bad. Do you like the orchestra version of No Leaf Clover? Never heard it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Dragon, EJ is a Lewis Hamilton fan, confirmed? No, I don't like Formula One anymore, dude. I rescinded my fandom. We're done. I'm done. I'm done. Yep, Dragon. Yep, done with it. Done with it, pal. I'm not dealing with this. There's too much bull crap. You know. Lewis going to Ferrari's cool though. That's pretty neat. Don't hate that. But yep. The whole Andretti thing is just kind of indicative about where their priorities are at for the sport, and yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. What if another 2021 epic year happens again? Great. Tip my cap. I'm not watching one race, dude. Sorry. Not doing that. Oh, my docking port ablated. Crapo. What killed F1 for you? Formula One not accepting a new team because they're worried, because all the teams are worried about money. Yeah, I'm just totally over it. Just. Besides, I like IMSA more now, anyways. Approved by the FIA, though. Yeah, I was kind of already on the outs with it. I'm just... Where's the other thing? Oh, there it is. Any interest in team endurance racing on iRacing? Yeah, maybe, Gunny. Dude, I'm telling you, man. I was at that Rolex 24. Oh, that's the racing that I have been kind of craving for some time, dude. Yeah, Bleak. Yep, exactly. Oh, Gunny, it was amazing. It was a magical experience, dude. He didn't put an EJ logo on the car, no. Yeah, maybe, Hoss. Yeah. Merc found their new driver. Nice. Yeah, I'm just... Yeah. I didn't watch it. I watched one race last year, guys. Just one. I'm just not really... Yeah. Like, I don't mind still talking about Formula One, but I'm not supporting Liberty or Formula One after this, dude. I'm not monetarily supporting them or anything like that. I don't want to do that. Unless they change their tune, that is, you know. But yeah, I'm good. Yeah, this is what I was wondering about. Look. Look. You set up a maneuver node, you get it dead on, so you're going to have an intercept, right? You time warp, it skips. See it change? Didn't skip that time. Yeah, Roger. I mean, the Andretti thing is just the straw that broke the camel's back. I just... It's so boring, dude. I just don't really... It doesn't really justify getting up and wasting half of my Sunday doing that. That's all. I'll get the highlights. Aragorn, yeah, this patch had a lot of little things in it, which is good. Qualifying is still pretty sweet. It does not... That's great. So I waste half of my Saturday morning. Shauna just doesn't... I have too much other stuff going on, dude. And if you still like F1, you don't need to take this personally. I'm just on the outs, man. I don't really want to watch it anymore. All right. Why did the nav ball... See, look, what happened there? We bonked out of the way. What? Alright. I don't want to play with you anymore. Bonk. Okay, cool. My docking port broke off, so... There's not really much we can do here, but... Cool. Alright, so that's definitely gotten better. It still skips around a little bit, but that was actually good. Cool. Send up something with a claw to transfer resources or something. Claw?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
No claw in this game. What are you talking about?
Discovery, go at
Hey,
throttle up.
Jazzo's 46 months, and Shaggy with the 57-month resub. No asteroids. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Let's go main menu. In real life, do you think asteroid mining will be a thing? It'll only be a thing if we make it a thing, Hosen. Waiting around for someone to invent it is not how we went to the moon. It's food for thought. Yeah, Josen. It's just, yeah, step in the right direction, dude, for sure. I thought they said they fixed the magenta. What happens if we load up Triton? Look like an F4C? I don't know what which particular one I modeled this after. It's painted in, I think I painted it navy colors. Here. Yeah, I made this. Yeah. Contrails just... Huh. Yeah. Actually, what I think would be a really cool idea is if a little piece of code that says if a wing is attached to another wing, it doesn't make a contrail. So like this wing out here is at the end of the hierarchy. There's no child part to it, so that's the part that should be making contrails. So like if you attach wings to wings, right, it won't make any lines. I wouldn't mind the contrails if they were out on the outside wings or on the tips of our stabilizers or something. I mean, like, personally, I don't know. I'm not really understanding the decision behind why those were there, but hey, whatever. Did you build this? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, it even has the missiles. Fire the missiles. And shouldn't they only show up? Having contrails on your wingtips only show up in certain atmospheric conditions. They don't show up all the time. In fact, it's more often than not that they don't show up. You have to have the right humidity and the right temperature. Where's my guns, though, Kappa? Oh. A low-effort fandom joke. Why am I not surprised, Panta? Something like that, Gunny, yeah. Have you been back on Flyout at all? Oh, no, I forgot all about that game. Would a small prop plane make trails? No. We didn't need those. You know what? Weapons mounts, we didn't need those either. Didn't high-altitude World War II planes make trails? Yeah, so? Are we at high altitude and is this a World War II plane?
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Hey, it's Mick. Depends on your definitions. Right. Yeah, Zmick, it's alright. Can it land? Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't it? Have you seen the engineering of re-entry video yet? That shuttle, that video that dude did about the shuttle where he says the reason why the shuttle does a roll program is because they couldn't turn the launch pad? That video? Newer one. No, I haven't. Authorization, Steven? What are you talking about? This one for your enjoyment later. What part are you specifically referring to? Oh, nice, Phil. He never mentions RCS. There's a few things throughout, like using aero surfaces during re-entry. The shuttle used aero surfaces during re-entry. It was a gradual transition. The gradual transition happens with altitude relative to the surface. So at the beginning of re-entry, you're using minimal control surface and maximum thrusters, right? Keep in mind, the thrusters aren't there consider the RCS during re-entry like a control surface. They're not necessarily used to keep the shuttle on an even keel. That's what the body flap and the speed brake are for. What they're absolutely used for is to change the shuttle's direction. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about a gigantic transient between Mach 25 at 350,000 feet and Mach 0.65 at, or like 0.3 Mach at sea level, right? That's a huge transient for entry, descent, and landing for the shuttle. I have this right from Mark Polanski, who flew the damn thing. I asked him at the ISSRDC in 2014. I asked him this exact question. He said it was a gradual transition. The shuttle's flight computers basically interpolate flight characteristics, and they'll actuate the proper control surface depending on where the shuttle is relative to the ground. It'll transition basically over from RCS to control surfaces, basically seamlessly. From what I understand. At least that's right from him. He's an ass astronaut that flew a bunch of times. He flew the shuttle. So, yeah. The control surfaces are not utilized too much in the hypersonic regime, but they are a little bit. It's a gradual transition over. Yeah. But yeah, it'll basically switch the RCS to control surfaces for you, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty sick piece of automation considering how old it actually is. Yeah, that isn't mentioned at all. It's right in the operations manual. It's not like this isn't, I used a primary source, right, as my explanation, but if you go read the ops manual, it's right there. There we go. Where's the jet engine noise? The other bit is the S-turns. I think you always have talked about them being used to slow the vehicle, while the video talks about using them to descend. The entirety of the shuttle's landing sequence from Op 300 or Op 301 down to end of mission operations is about descending. It's called entry, descent, and landing for a reason. The whole it's descending the entire time. I'm confused. KSP does not have ground effect, no. Why would the shuttle need help descending? It already does. It's really good at doing that. There's no sinking this boat, Glender! You would have to see that portion. What point in the video? Can you timestamp something? I'm interested. The S turns are for slowing down, but the S turns are. They are for slowing down. They're not necessarily there for descending. You don't in any aircraft, to my knowledge, you don't turn to descend. You turn to slow down. 17 minutes in. Okay, let's see.
About 4 times the cruising altitude of an airliner. The orbiter has maintained that 40-degree angle of attack this entire time.
False.
Being forced to hold an angle of attack this large comes with some control problems. The orbiter needs to land precisely on a landing strip from orbit. Managing its trajectory while being stuck with its nose up would be difficult, especially for a glider.
The shuttle doesn't do that. It doesn't maintain 45 through the entirety of EDL. What it does is basically right when you get to the start of entry interface, you're actually at a lower angle of attack, and then as the shuttle moves around the Earth, right? Because sphere, right? The angle of attack gradually gets higher and higher, right? And then you ideally want most of your thermal protection system right when you hit peak heating. You want most of the bottom of the orbiter being exposed. And then they'll gradually bring the nose down. Think of it like a belly flop almost. And then post belly flop, it starts to basically fall out of the atmosphere. The majority of the shuttle's speed dissipation happens up there.
With no way to add energy once it's been bled away by drag. If the space shuttle wanted to lower its lift and lower its altitude faster, it could not lower its angle of attack. So, the shuttle needed a special way to adjust its trajectory to adjust its landing area. Instead, the orbiter decreased its lift by banking. This split the lift into vertical and horizontal components, reducing the lift keeping the shuttle in the air and trading it for lift that moved it sideways. This is what a typical re-entry flight profile looked like. This line is the angle of attack, keeping steady until Mach 12.
But see, what did I tell you? The angle of attack actually starts super low during shuttle entry, descent, and landing. See, as the shuttle rotates around the Earth, angle of attack relative to prograde velocity goes up. He just contradicted, the graph contradicts what he was saying. His own graph in his own video. The graph goes up in Mach across Y. Wait, why the... Wait, that's not time? I can't see it because the caption's in the way. It's Mach number? That... Technically, he's not wrong what he said before, but Gary, it doesn't do that. I know because I've talked to people that flew the damn thing, not just looked at a frigging graph. Like, I'm confused.
And then gradually reducing as it descends through the thick lower atmosphere. And this is the bank angle. As the orbiter crashes down from orbit, it banks wildly from side to side.
Yeah, I understand. I'd be curious where this is from.
The astronaut...
Hold on.
ends through the thick lower atmosphere. And this is the
Acolytes,
bank angle.
stop. Stop. I need to... Stop. Stop. I need to listen to what he's saying.
As the orbiter crashes down from orbit, it banks wildly from side to side. The astronauts inside, who are already pointed 40 degrees up, are now tilted on their sides up to 70 degrees. The orbiter is essentially doing the fastest drift in history. There are some quirks to flying this high in the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. The bank angle controls actually work in reverse to normal. If we deflect the right elevon down, it should increase lift on the right wing and cause that wing to rise, banking the aircraft anti-clockwise. But it doesn't. When the elevon is deflected downwards into the already compressed hypersonic air, it causes drag to rise on the outer wing. This causes the orbiter to turn its nose in that direction.
That's right.
As the nose turns in the direction of the deflected elevon, it shields that wing and causes a decrease in lift, causing the shuttle to bank in that direction. So, where a downwards deflecting elevon would typically cause an increase in lift on the wing, here, through a series of events, it causes a decrease in lift.
That's correct.
Working in reverse.
Yeah, hypersonics do that. This is why, like, Falcon 9 has grid fins, because control surfaces at hypersonic speed don't do anything. They turn into a gigantic speed brake. So the shuttle right here is using what's called differential speed brakes to steer. That's correct. Page 239 for the face. Let me see. Let me check something here. Yeah, it absolutely does do that. That's right. 239. Okay. That's right. Yep, that's all right. I mean, the paper's right. See, there's no altitude correlation here, and that's why that's what makes this really difficult to look at. Because like with this is strange. Like it's I don't. So like look, all right. So we just have a Mach number here. All right, you're not getting through the like this is just correlative to speed here, right? Or well, Mach number. It's angle of attack correlated to Mach number, but there's no sense of time here, which is why I got initially confused, right? Now, this guy says that the shuttle's had a 45-degree angle of attack throughout the entirety of reentry. How's that possible? There's no concept of time here. Shuttle does most of its peak deceleration up at high altitude. It's up there. It does it up there. The reason why you dip too far into the atmosphere with this thing, the shuttle doesn't shuttle anymore. It has a very low, a very shallow reentry trajectory. And it does most of its deceleration up there. Like majority of the deceleration is done above like 100,000 feet. Oh, nice, Fanta. That's cool. H is your altitude. Interesting. Yeah, this is a really weird thing. Yeah, okay, I see H is altitude there. I'm doing fine, Bandit. Everything's good. Yeah, isn't okay. Yeah, okay. Aqualix, this is what you're saying, right? This is the opposite of this. This graph shows the opposite of what he said. Am I not? Am I making? Am I like? I can't put it into words, right? But this is the opposite of what he said. Like that's the opposite. Yeah, Builder, kind of. Unless I'm stupid. Hold on, let me hear it again.
Attack this large comes with some control problems.
It's funny because even in the modeled video, even in this rendered video that he shows the shuttle increasing angle of attack during entry. Look,
about 4 times
watch.
the cruising altitude of an airliner. The orbiter has maintained that 40-degree angle of attack this entire time, being forced to hold an angle of...
it's pitching up as it rotates around the Earth. How is SpaceX making so many boosters? What? When you have an 11,000 strong workforce, you can crank out whatever you want.
Comes with some control problems. The orbiter needs to land precisely on a landing strip from orbit. Managing its trajectory while being stuck with its nose up would be difficult, especially for a glider with no way to add energy once it's been bled away by drag. If the space shuttle wanted to lower its lift and lower its altitude faster, it could not lower its angle of attack. So, the shuttle needed a special way to adjust its trajectory to adjust its landing area. Instead, the orbiter decreased its lift by banking. This split the lift into vertical and horizontal components, reducing the lift keeping the shuttle...
That's not there for descent components, guys. The shuttle can change the angle of attack to change its rate, to change its speed and rate of descent. Like, that's what the body flap and the speed brake are there for. The horizontal component of lift there is for cross range capability. That's why it's there. That's why it's there. The shuttle, it had the... Okay.
In the air and trading it for lift that moved it sideways. This is what a typical re-entry flight profile looked like. This
Thank
line
you,
is the
Foo-Face,
angle
for
of
this.
attack. keeping steady until Mach 12, and then gradually reducing as it descends through the thick lower atmosphere. And this is the bank angle. As the orbiter crashes down from orbit, it banks wildly from side to side. The astronauts inside, who are already pointed 40 degrees up, are now tilted on their sides up to 70 degrees.
That's not what that says.
And this is the bank angle. As the orbiter crashes down from orbit,
So the second it starts doing these turns, you're lowering angle of attack. The first one is, yeah. Look at the far left y-axis. I know because it's highlighted right there, O-Force.
it banks
Thank you.
wildly from side to side. The astronauts inside, who are already pointed 40 degrees up, are now tilted on their sides up to 70 degrees. The orbiter is essentially doing the fastest drift in history. There are some quirks to flying this high in the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. The bank angle controls actually work in reverse to normal. If we deflect the right elevon down, it should increase lift on the right wing and cause that wing to rise, banking the aircraft anti-clockwise. But it doesn't. When the elevon is deflected downwards into the already compressed hypersonic air, it causes drag to rise on the outer wing. This causes the orbiter to turn its nose in that direction.
Yeah,
As the nose
that's actually right. Kerbal never got that correctly, or we never really simulated it right. But yeah, that's actually more or less correct. Yeah, Dream Chaser is going to do the same thing, believe it or not, dudes.
turns in the direction of the deflected elevon. It shields that wing and causes a decrease in lift.
Yeah, Gil, that's where most of this is correct. Now that I'm actually looking at it, but he was saying that it has to do the S turns for descent. The S turns are for energy management. The S turns are there to bleed off speed, not altitude. That once again, majority of the shuttle's descent is done up there. It's done up high. Yeah, that's where I'm like, huh? That's where I'm getting a little confused. I'm not sure what he meant by that.
Increase in lift on the wing. Here, through a series of events, it causes a decrease in lift.
That's right. The shuttle does that. That's how it does the S turns. I was never sure if Kerbal could do this correctly, so I just never bothered inverting my control surfaces for my shuttle descents. I would just have the control surfaces do their thing, because I'm not sure that KSV understands the hypersonics like that.
Working in reverse. Of course, this bank...
It doesn't seem right that the shuttle almost skips off the atmosphere. He has that simulation of the shuttle gaining altitude. The shuttle does not skip off the atmosphere, Bandit. No. It can steer. You can fly it at hypersonic speed.
Angle
It's designed to be flown at during
landing,
hypersonics.
and to correct, it needs to bank the other way. The orbiter has now slowed down to Mach 3, and at this point, the flight crew deploy air data sensors to aid in the final approach.
Deploy?
2 probes rotate from underneath the heat shield on either side of the nose, providing airspeed, angle of attack, and temperature data to the flight computer. At this point, the orbiter is flying like a plane. But it's not a plane, it's a glider, and the flight crew needed to carefully manage the remaining energy to land safely. Especially as the orbiter was not built like a traditional glider, balancing the need to survive. 2 probes rotate from underneath the heat shield on either side of the nose. Providing airspeed, angle of attack, and temperature data to the flight computer. At this point, the orbiter is flying like a plane. But it's not a plane, it's a glider, and the flight crew needed to carefully manage the remaining energy to land safely. Especially as the orbiter was not built like a traditional glider, Balancing the need to survive re-entry while maximizing lift efficiency was a unique engineering challenge, made more difficult by Air Force funding, causing the design to skew closer to a plane than a re-entry vehicle. Early concepts of the
Let me just check something real quick. We'll get back to Kerbal in a moment. It's there. Is it open, though? Yeah? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, she's there. How have I never noticed that before? That's cool. That's cool. That's something I learned from that video. Told you, man. This thing's S tier. I still learn stuff about it every day. I've flipped through that damn flight manual, the ops manual, so many freaking times, dude. I don't know how I missed that one. Yeah, they're open. Yeah, interesting. What a crazy vehicle. I like how you have a folder of shuttle pictures. Of course, man. You don't? Yeah, she's there. Some pictures here. Yeah, they're there. Yeah, no. I wasn't sure about that one. That's why I just went and looked. Mother trucker, I'll be damned. Yep. Cool. Yeah, so that's right. That's correct. That's cool. Fellas, okay. I'm pretty sure that real engineering knows what he's talking about. Pretty damn sure. From what I heard from that, not everything is like 100% right, but it's close enough. It's close enough to get the point across. Like it's hard to convey some of these concepts into plain words. Long story short, with the shuttle, you're not. So the shuttle starts EDL, right? Above, like, way above the atmosphere, to be honest with you. It starts at 0 degrees, and as it goes around, it's designed to hit peak heating when most of your heat shield is exposed. That obviously, right? And then it does bring the angle of attack down, but the S-turns aren't there. He says the S-turns are there to manage descent. Like they're there for descent. They're there for descent because you're taking wings off of it. Well, okay, I think where the confusion there is, so he's saying that you bank to not make as much lift, right? That's why you do that. That is a property of a plane going subsonic speeds. And then, like right after that, proceeds to say that at hypersonic speed, your control surfaces are inverted. They don't do what they normally do. Long story short, banking at hypersonic speeds like that it's energy management. It's not necessarily meant for descent. The S-turns are there to make sure that the shuttle gets it slows down enough to a certain speed to get its kind of ballistic trajectory, so to speak, or its trajectory basically lined up with a launch site. So it also can do cross range, right? So you don't go back and forth like this. You can hold like that to skim through the atmosphere sideways, right? If you need to do like a polar once around orbit, like what the Air Force was trying to do, right? You don't need to turn back and forth. You can use those wings and go through reentry kind of like this if you want to. The shuttle can basically spin around like that. Like they never utilized its full cross range capability, right? But those because of that, right? that tells you're not going to do this every single time. You don't necessarily have to. It depends on what azimuth, what's your trajectory, what's your entry azimuth. There's a bunch of things there, right? So where I think he's getting confused is attributing hypersonic flight and rate of descent to subsonic, how you would descend with subsonic flight. That's correct, though. In a plane, if you like flying around in an aircraft, right, at subsonic speeds, and you do this, you are getting rid of all your lift because your wings are pushing this way. The lift force of your wings is moving more tangent to the force of gravity. If this is gravity, right, pushing down, and this is lift pushing up, if you bank a plane, less of your wings lifting force is being used to hold you up in the air. Now, once again, at hypersonics, when you're going hypersonic, no, not necessarily the case. It has a lot more to do with your angle of attack, and the shuttle gets a lower angle of attack over time. It was doing rolls at low angles of attack, and he's saying that the shuttle had to maintain 45 degrees while doing these banked turns, but the graph shows the exact opposite of that. So I think I think that there is a little bit of a with subsonic and hypersonic aerodynamics there. They don't really work exactly the same. Polar once arounds were from KSC? No. Your lift doesn't do much to your trajectory when you're going hypersonic. Well, Animal, he said that any control surface is just going to create drag, right? Right, you're not going to be able to steer too much, right? So if that's the case, rolling and banking the shuttle is not really going to do. It's not good. That's not going to change your descent, right? Like that's just going to slow you down. But he said it's correlative to descent. I think the wording is weird, but he gets the gist of it. That's right. For the most part, it's correct. Like it's close enough. It's close enough for a YouTube video. You know what I mean? At 22 minutes, he goes over the final approach. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is right. The shuttle would bank around. It doesn't necessarily do that every time, necessarily. When you get into the subsonic regime with the shuttle, it goes through it does a heading alignment config. Yeah, see, heading alignment right here. You're doing a heading alignment, right? But the heading alignment doesn't necessarily look like a tornado like that. It doesn't do that all the time. It really depends on where you're landing, because, saying that this is what the shuttle does every time would be like saying the approach to JFK on runway 4 is the same approach as Boston runway 4 because they're both pointed in the same direction. If you're a pilot, you know that's not true. It depends on where you're coming from. Where are you landing? The shuttle landed at different runways, 3 different runways throughout its tenure, right? So it wouldn't necessarily always do this, but it does do this like I guess in a conventional mission configuration, but it really depends on where you're going and whatnot. But I don't know if that's too in-depth for this video as well.
And ground control for a tangential entry into a circular approach path, 5,800 meters in diameter, just off the runway. The moment they intercept the circle, the space shuttle commences a deep spiraling turn. At this point, the space shuttle is still traveling at about 0.8 Mach, still very fast, and it's at this point the wings are stressed the most, hitting a higher max dynamic pressure than at any point during the re-entry process, due to the higher air pressure at this altitude. And the shuttle's descent rate increases, now losing altitude rapidly, with the knowledge the runway is within a safe gliding distance, descending to about 3,000 meters in altitude and slowing to about 0.5 Mach. At this point, the shuttle enters a straight 20-degree down glide approach path, much steeper than any airliner approach path, bleeding speed as needed using the split rudder speed brake. The rudder on the vertical tail wasn't just used for controlling yaw by deflecting left and right. It could split in 2, deflecting outwards to a maximum of 62 degrees on
That's right.
either side. The gear is lowered as late as possible, and in the final moments before touching down, the commander will increase the angle of attack of the shuttle using the elevons in order to slow its descent rate before touching down. At the moment of main gear touchdown, the speed brake is commanded to fully open. At this point, the shuttle is still traveling at 360 kilometers per hour, close to 0.3 Mach, and there is plenty of braking left to do. The runway...
The shuttle touches down. For pilots, it touches down over 200 knots. Yeah, it's going pretty fast. 216, 220 miles an hour. That's the only way you could... That's the only way you can get the thing to generate 0 vertical speed. The shuttle can never go up. It never skips. It really doesn't. If it does, you got a big problem. The only time it could ever basically pitch up enough to land correctly is if you're at a certain angle of attack at a certain speed at sea level. It can't go up. I mean, you could probably try to command it to do that, and then you'll fall out of the sky and crash.
At Cape Canaveral is 4.6 kilometers long, much longer than your average runway, with typical 3-kilometer long runways being able to deal with the heaviest of jumbo jets landing. As the nose gear touches down, the electro-hydraulic brakes in each of the 4 main landing gear wheels are fully engaged by application of the foot pedals in the cockpit. Each brake assembly had 9 carbon-lined beryllium discs, 4 rotors and 5 stators, which were pressed together to provide braking force.
It looks like an F1 brake. Yeah, it's actually kind of similar to a brake in an F1 car. It's not that far off. Or just an airplane brake.
On STS-49, Bruce Melnick's mission, an additional braking mechanism was introduced, hidden away underneath the vertical tail speed brake, the drag chute. STS-49 was the maiden flight of both Endeavour and the drag chute.
Yeah, they put the chute in there because it's easier to repack a chute than it is to rebuild the brakes on the shuttles, because the shuttles were destroying brakes. That's a lot of mass to stop with just those small brakes. I mean, if you look at the gear relative to the plane, the gear is awfully small. Probably how F1 cars got their brakes. Well, fun fact, Bandit. See the nose cone on the shuttle? F1 brakes are made out of that. They're made out of reinforced carbon. Yeah, it's RCC. Or carbon ceramic is what it's called in the automotive industry. But yeah, it's just RCC. It's the same thing. It looks like an Air Force aircraft. Yeah, it's not that far off.
The runway at Cape Canaveral is...
Are you sure this wasn't the video where he said they couldn't turn the pad? Hold on. I'm pretty sure this is the same video. This video is from today, no? February 1st. Wait. It's a different video. Ah, okay. It was an earlier video. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, once again, fellas, it's just the terminology is a little weird, but that's for the most part correct. I mean, he pulled it right from an NTRS shuttle document. Like, that's fine. It's good enough. It's good enough to get the point across. But the shuttle doesn't S-turn. The shuttle doesn't necessarily S-turn for... When the S-turns are there, they're mostly there for what's called energy management, right? Because with the shuttle, I guess the right way to say it is that it's always overshooting. It's always trying to overshoot the landing site. The reason why you're trying to overshoot the landing site is because you don't want to slow down too much. Anybody that's ever made a shuttle in Kerbal trying to get back to the runway knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? You never, ever, ever want to bleed off too much speed, right? So basically the shuttle will get to a trajectory where it's going to overshoot the landing site if it just kept flying like this, right? And it'll do the S-turns to bleed off the speed like this without screwing your trajectory, without pushing your trajectory further down range or pulling it closer up range. And basically it'll do those S-turns, and even then, at the S-turns, right, the shuttle usually flies over the runway and then turns around and comes back. That was that vortex maneuver that he was talking about? That's right. But it changes depending on where you fly. Like, okay, I'll take, if anybody, I mean, there's been a lot of new space fans since the shuttle stopped flying. But if you really want to know, the shuttle it always overshot the runway every single time. In terms of flying, not like landing. Like, I don't want to confuse it with like it's skidding off the end of the runway. They never did that because the runway's 15,000 feet. But for like the SLF, for instance, when the shuttle would come back from the ISS, let's take an ISS mission coming back to the shuttle landing facility at the Cape, right? It would fly over the runway, out over the ocean, turn around and do a heading alignment, and it would basically fly over Port Canaveral, bank around, do the heading alignment for 33, for runway 33, and then land. And then simultaneously, like if it was trying to land on 15 at the shuttle landing facility, it would fly over the VAB, out into the ocean, turn around, do a heading alignment, come back and land on that axis. Like it depends. It depends on the windage. They could change just like an airplane. You know what runway, 15 or 33 on the shuttle landing facility. One claim he made about the drag chute was part of its introduction was so it could more easily abort to overseas runways. I suppose that's one facet of it, Hellfish, but the big one is that they're not... The big one's brake refurbishment, man. Taking those brakes apart is a pain in the butt, dude. 1.5 or 3.3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Surreal engineering is clickbait. No, it's not. But I actually learned about the pitot sensors. I didn't know that. I thought the pitot sensors were somewhere else. I mean, but then again, you can't put them in the nose cone. Now, can you? I think that's super neat. Plus, they're beryllium. You don't want to be messing around with that stuff a whole lot. Yeah. Yeah, I'd call this video pretty damn good. It's pretty right. It's close enough. There's some weird terminology here and there, but yeah, no need for overreaction. That's pretty correct, Hellfish. It's close enough. Like, we could sit here and pick apart the nomenclature of grammar in the applications of aerospace like all we want, but yeah, the way he explains it is kind of weird, but I'll chalk that up to just trying to use your own words. It's something that it's something that people don't realize I'm doing. So, if I'm looking at something like this and I'm trying to explain it to you guys, I will try to put it in my best words. The reason why is because I don't want plagiarism. I don't want to be regurgitating like an NTRS document. I really don't. I always try to put stuff in my own words. The reason why is because I want people to know that it's not just me reading off a script. Ever. And I think chat gets confused because when I try to put it in my own words, some people think like, oh, well, no, you don't understand the concept. I understand the concept just fine. I try to put it in my own words. I think people get confused about that a lot. I came across these recently and thought you would enjoy. What's that, Z-Man? Yeah, the approach and landing tests. Cool. Oh, nice. That's a cool document. Right on. For the common person, I think it's good. It's good enough to get the point across, Weiser. Yeah, Real Engineering's video is fine. I'm pretty sure most of that is him trying to put it into his own words, and that's fine. Yeah, no problems there. Yeah, and believe me, it's very difficult. I notice you keep looking over to your right when talking to us. Is that a script you're looking at? No, it's not. Dick. Yeah, so I assure you will never hear me plagiarize something on here. And yeah, everything is my own words, my own way of putting it. Everything. And if I am quoting something directly, I will tell you. Like, this is verbatim, or I'm not to parrot, or something like that. If I'm quoting something directly, I'll let you know. I usually say, he is the one, yeah. Hey, Schnip, what's going on? Do you know of any documents that better link the shuttle to the X-15? Better link the shuttle to the X-15. What? Hellfish, let me put it to you like this. Does a funny car have anything to do with an F1 car? But they both go fast, right? So how can we find the link between funny cars and F1 cars? That's what you just asked. Yeah, I'm sure there's something, but at the end of the day, they're fundamentally designed to do two different things. The X-15 is designed to go fast. The shuttle is designed to go slow. The X-15 is designed to speed up. Shuttle's designed to slow down. Does that make sense? He uses the X-15 a lot in the video. What? What? Why? Both are rear-wheel drive. Got him. The X-15 goes nowhere near the shuttle's speed. Not even close. Hey, Rug, 73 months. I don't understand. Wait, why would you use the X-15? I'm confused. He implies that a lot of the tech of the shuttle is derivative of tech developed from the X-15 program. But the... What? How does... Why would you do that? But the X-15 is... With the X-15, they learned a lot. They learned a lot about hypersonic flight from above Kármán line to the ground. But I don't think the X-15 ever did. I don't think the X-15 ever went that high. Whoops. Nice. Yeah, okay. I would contend to say that the... Please hold. Give me 1 second. I mean, yeah, we probably learned a lot about it, but there's this thing. I would contend to say we learned the most about hypersonics from... Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get a good picture. From stuff like that. I mean, that's a Soviet R-36, but... No, MERV. Re-entry vehicles, multiple independent that's where we learned hypersonics. We learned hypersonics from that. I mean, yeah, the X-15 did have some good supersonic and maybe a little bit of hypersonics there too. But yeah, missile ICBM research is really what made. That's where we learned how to do that. Biconic reentry vehicles, which the shuttle is. Saying it's derived from the X-15 is like saying a B-17 is derived from the Wright Flyer, which is a little weird. That I would say that it's much more ICBM derived than anything. Yeah, because what was the first reentry vehicles we ever made? Nukes. And I don't think anybody here could make a reasonable argument that the Department of Defense in the 1960s didn't put a lot of money into hypersonic research for making sure a nuke hits where we want it to. You know what I mean? I would say that the shuttle's hypersonic design is much more ICBM derived than anything. Yeah. And I just want to check one more thing real quick. I'm just curious. What's this thing's fastest speed? Just out of curiosity. This is approximate. Okay, so yeah, that barely skirted hypersonics. Barely. Yeah, you're not going to learn much about hypersonics with this thing. Yeah. So the X-15 can go up for a long enough period of time and basically get up to above the Kármán line. Think like Virgin Galactic. Same idea. That's basically what it did. It doesn't... 4,500 miles an hour is not. That's not fast enough to do any. You're just basically skirting the edge of hypersonics. So past Mach 5. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that nothing was derived from the X-15. I would contend to say that the majority of the shuttle's entry, descent, and landing is done above speeds that the X-15 ever got even close to. Yeah, this probably did something, but biconic reentry vehicles are much more
Discovery, go at throttle up.
We're much more influential in the shuttle's design. Slowly making my way to 100. 16 months from Sea Kraken. Thanks, buddy. I thought Mach 5 was hypersonic. It depends. He even tried to compare the pink paint on the X-15 to the shuttle tiles. Yeah. Yeah, Havoc. I'm not saying that we didn't learn anything from the X-15 that directly benefited the shuttle program. No, absolutely not. I'm saying the shuttle is a biconic reentry vehicle. Nukes are a biconic reentry vehicle. We learned it from that. Absolutely. Like, I can say that pretty damn conclusively. KSP-2 is starting to get usable. Yeah, Rude, it's getting there. And F-4s are my favorite. They're my favorite plane. From the Cold War, they're my favorite because frick you. I want to go fast, right? Obviously. Even try to compare the pink paint on the shuttle. I thought he was saying that the shuttle couldn't use this solution. First in, last out. Damn right, dude. I want to go fast. Exactly, Havix. Yeah, that's a little bit of a weird comparison to make. But once again, I'm not saying... I don't think that Real Engineering is... I'm pretty sure Real Engineering isn't just some crazy clickbait channel. That guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's alright. He's alright. It's hard. It is difficult to discern some of this stuff, dudes. I think Real Engineering's just fine. Yeah. Yeah, he's just fine. Let's see if our F-104 still works. As long as the pad doesn't turn. Now that is just blatantly wrong. But you know, his videos did teach me something about the pitot sensors. That's cool. This is the one he released a month ago, and there's a part of this where I'm like, eh. But these videos, for the most part, are pretty damn well researched.
Ominous orange clouds of toxic gas. Breathing this in would cause your lungs to rapidly fill with fluid, and once in your bloodstream, it interferes with the blood's ability to carry oxygen.
Yeah, that's nitrogen tetroxide. It's not good for you. Oh, who'd he talk to? Oh, word. Neat. Where's that part? Where's that part? I'm trying to see the part where he talks about launching the damn thing.
This is the atmosphere, where it will disintegrate. Jobs begin the moment they reach orbit. Falling back to Earth, where they through the atmosphere. For the past 9 minutes, the space shuttle has been powering its way through the atmosphere. For the past 9 minutes, the space shuttle has been powering its way through the atmosphere, propelled forward by 2 massive solid rocket boosters. Completing their duties 2 minutes into the flight, they...
Yeah, it's probably before that. Yeah, this one right here.
This video is brought to you...
Alright, let me see. I just want to see something real quick.
Oxidizer is now ready to enter its next stage. Our first fuel's true power. Fuel and oxygen meet in the 2 high-pressure turbopumps, raising flow rates even higher. Back in the nozzle, we see our first flames.
Wait.
Nozzles, where it begins to expand and turn into gas.
That's right.
This gaseous hydrogen drives a low-pressure turbopump turbine, elevating the rate of flow of hydrogen through the fuel lines.
That's right.
This is all happening in the blink of an eye. Less than a second later, the main oxidizer valves open, unlocking the fuel's true power. Fuel and oxygen meet in the 2 high-pressure turbopumps, raising flow rates even higher. Back in the nozzle, we see our first flames. Oxygen levels are still low, and combustion instabilities cause the engines to rattle.
That's
But
right.
the engine is now ready to enter its next stage.
Yeah,
Entering
it's close enough.
open-loop engine control, no longer controlled by a pre-scripted startup sequence. Instead, the engine constantly monitors pressure readings and adjusts valves accordingly. The engine begins to throttle up, oxygen valves continually opening wider. The flame transitions from a low-pressure orange
Oxygen valves open wider?
flame to
Close
an
enough.
eerie hot blue. The space shuttle is unique in that these engines are not directly under the fuel tanks. The expensive rocket engines were attached to the reusable shuttle.
I'm trying to find the part about the launch piece. I think it's back here, maybe.
These engines were up to the challenge. The 2 massive solid rocket boosters lay dormant. The 2 largest solid rockets ever made to date. And when the signal that the orbiter's engine
Yeah, not close enough. I'm glad I'm not the only one annoyed by that. There are some things here and there, dude, but yeah, like, dude, it's good enough for somebody that knows nothing about the space shuttle. It's close enough. Like, that's the thing. You got to get close enough with STEM outreach, because if you're not trying to make it simpler in some way, you're just doing a lesson on aerospace. And don't get me wrong, like, I think we're at that point in here where that's basically what we do. But yeah, it's important to kind of keep it simple in some regards.
were up to the challenge arrived, an inferno would
Carl Weathers passed away. That's a shame. Here, let's see.
Main engines are offset from the
Yeah, that's
solid
Bruce
rocket
Melnick,
boosters, which are holding you to the pad. When we light off the main engines at 7 seconds, it actually bends that stack over, and you can feel this little lurching back and forth.
Twang, baby.
NASA calls it twang. It's kind of a real technical term.
The only thing stopping the entire shuttle from tipping over at this point are the hold-down posts attached to the solid rocket boosters, which for now lay dormant, waiting for the signal to ignite. The pressure inside the diverging nozzle is still lower than atmospheric pressure, and as a result, we can see a flow separation layer, which gradually creeps to the edge of the nozzle as the pressure inside increases.
See, that's right. That's correct. He's 100% spot on there. That's flow separation. Flow separation induces an oscillation in the motor. That's because your combustion chamber pressure isn't high enough to basically fill. The way I describe it, guys, is that the explosion that's happening inside of the combustion chamber isn't enough to fill up the combustion chamber throat and the nozzle. You have to make an explosion big enough to fill that. If you don't, physics gets unhappy. Let's put it that way.
3 seconds until launch.
Overexpansion.
The engines are checked to ensure they are running at 90% of their rated thrust. The time has come for the solid rocket boosters to ignite. The solid rocket boosters are 40.
Sorry, Weiser. Sorry, man. my bad.
With solid rocket fuel, a rubbery mixture that combines both the fuel and oxidizer into one solid material.
Yeah.
The oxidizer, ammonium perchlorate, makes up nearly 70% of the mixture, while 16% was the aluminium fuel.
Yeah. If he doesn't talk about hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene, I'm going to be a little upset.
We need a way to ignite the entire column quickly. The igniter itself was essentially a miniature solid rocket.
It's HTPB and ammonium perchlorate. It doesn't. SRBs don't burn aluminum. It's not like they just have pieces of metal in there. What the aluminum is there for is a stabilizer. You can get, we just talked about cavitation, right? Inside of the rocket engine, how it made the plume over expansion made the nozzle do this, right? With the SRBs, there could be air bubbles trapped inside of the solid rocket fuel as cast, right? And if there's an air bubble there and the solid rocket fuel burns to that air bubble, you're going to get a momentary drop in pressure. Non-uniform explosion. You don't want that. You want the explosion to be uniform inside of the SRB. So they don't burn aluminum per se. I mean, it does. It's not the fuel. The aluminum is a stabilizer. It's a stabilizer in there to make up for the fact that you might have air pockets inside of there. I mean, ideally, you don't want any. I'm talking about like tiny little guys. So the aluminum is there to make sure that if that does get encountered, it burns the aluminum too, and that keeps your combustion chamber pressure nice and flat, which is what you want. Actually, not necessarily what you want. It really depends. What's the thrust curve in the SRB? That's a really important thing. How they physically pack the solid rocket fuel inside of there. Like the physical shape is pre-programmed logic for the SRB to control thrust. Yeah, different shapes. Like you pack the solid fuel in a different shape, you're changing your combustion chamber surface area. And changing the combustion chamber surface area means more fuel is getting into the combustion chamber. And that can increase combustion chamber pressure and increase thrust. Simultaneously, you choke it off, you decrease surface area of your combustion chamber. With an SRB, you can basically throttle the SRB up and down. Thing is, it's on a pre-programmed curve, so you can't change it in real time. Like, you can't throttle it like you could with a shuttle motor. But, yeah.
Motor, which itself was ignited by an even smaller miniature solid rocket motor. To ensure extremely quick combustion, this main igniter was shaped with a 40-point star orifice. When it comes to solid rocket motors,
See how
the more
see how the shape is different? Each segment can have a different shape with the segmented SRBs, guys. Each segment can be a little bit different. See what I'm talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, you pack each segment differently. You can get your SRBs to throttle up at liftoff, throttle down for max Q, throttle back up again after maximum dynamic pressure, and then slowly tail off in thrust until they separate, which is exactly what the shuttles do. They go up, and then they go down for max Q, and then they go up again, and then they tail off until your combustion chamber pressure reaches ambient, in which case they separate. Fun fact, the SRBs are still kind of generating some residual thrust. The combustion chamber, they actually don't separate at zero at ambient thrust chamber pressure. It separates just a smidge before that. That's why the SRBs, when the shuttle separates, don't appear to like fly back out of the way like if Soyuz was jettisoning its liquid fuel boosters, or like a strap-on SRM on like Atlas or Vulcan. They kind of just fly away. The shuttle boosters kind of peel out, and they separate, and they just kind of keep going, right? Because it's still generating some residual thrust.
surface area available to burn, the quicker it will burn, rapidly producing the heat and pressure needed to ignite the entire column of solid propellant.
Yep.
Once this
Yeah, if you notice that picture of the igniter that he showed, the igniter is like a shotgun shell shooting into a smaller SRB that shoots into the SRB. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Shotgun shell. Well, kind of a shotgun shell. That's not the exact way to say it, but it's close enough.
rapidly producing the heat and pressure needed to ignite the entire column of solid propellant. Once this happened, there was no turning back, so there were several safety mechanisms in the arming sequence to prevent it happening accidentally. The first part of the arming sequence began when technicians accessed the safety and arming device in the top skirt of the solid rocket booster here to remove a pin. This pin locked a safety device in place, preventing it from rotating into an armed position by accident.
Yep.
When it
Yeah, it's all detents and stuff. Here, I'm trying to get to the part about the roll program.
and this was identified as the main issue causing the so-called stud hang-ups. The shuttle is now free, with the largest and most powerful solid rockets ever used in human spaceflight powering it upwards.
So cool, dude.
Each of the solid rocket boosters provided 13,000 kilonewtons of thrust each, nearly
Close
double
enough.
that of the Falcon 9 first stage.
Yep.
But the very notion of using solid rocket boosters for a crewed space shuttle was initially met with extreme concern. Using solid rocket boosters for human spaceflight had never been attempted before. They were nearly exclusively used for military use. Like the Minuteman ICBM, the solid rocket fuel allowed them to stand ready, available to launch in a moment's notice. However, once ignited, there is little that can be done to stop them. The entire column of propellant is ignited at once. There are no pumps or valves that can lower the fuel and oxidizer being delivered. Once ignited, they stay ignited until all of the propellant is expended. And this, of course, comes with extreme control issues that need to be engineered around. To begin, the engine needs to be throttled back as it expends fuel. As fuel is used, the weight of the rocket
He
booster
basically went through exactly what I just said. That's all right. That's correct.
on the left and right side of the shuttle, ensuring differential thrust from the boosters would not drive it off course. However, all 5 of the nozzles were capable of thrust factoring to control the space shuttle during ascent,
Here,
and 80% of
let me back it up just a little bit.
with the thrust decreasing by 3 segment on the other booster. This allowed the 2 segments to be filled using the same batch of fuel mixture.
Yeah, that's
so,
correct.
if there were any inconsistencies in the mix, they would be at the very least consistent on the left and right side of the shuttle.
He's saying that they pack both the boosters with the same patch of SRB fuel. Yeah, why wouldn't they do that? But also, the aluminum stabilizer is there to make up for that. That's the big reason why there's aluminum flake in this thing.
Ensuring differential thrust from the boosters would not drive it off course. Increased distance from the central axis of the space shuttle. The space shuttle's aerodynamic
A couple of viewers wanted me to take a look at it. We'll jump back to Kerbal in a second, dude.
Flight surfaces played no part in control during ascent, but they did actuate to reduce aerodynamic stress
That's correct.
and drag on ascent.
Yep.
7 seconds after takeoff, with the space shuttle traveling around 140 kilometers per hour, a roll program is initiated through asymmetric thrust vectoring of the nozzles of the solid rocket boosters, with actuators mounted inside the aft skirt here.
See, this is what I mean about terminology. Asymmetric thrust vectoring. That's right. Yeah, it's close enough. That's not how I would explain that, but that's right. It's close enough to get the point. That's not wrong.
There are 2 hydraulic actuators on each nozzle to allow it to move in both pitch and yaw.
Yeah, the SRBs have an auxiliary power unit. That's why they have those skirts at the bottom to hold the auxiliary power unit for the SRB thrust vector control. SRBs have 8 degrees of gimbal, and they're the ones that are doing most of the steering during the roll program.
The space shuttle turns over 180 degrees and pitches 12 degrees off a straight-up trajectory, placing the shuttle on a heading towards its assigned orbit, lowering the dynamic pressure on the shuttle's wings and providing the flight crew a view of the horizon out of their windows. Of course, this 180-degree rotation would not have been needed if the space shuttle was simply rotated on the launch pad. But the launch pad was designed for the Saturn V. The position of the service tower and all of the supporting infrastructure associated with it locked the space shuttle into this orientation, and it was simply easier to program a roll than to build a new launch pad.
So, I have a question. He said because of the Saturn V, the shuttle launches in the same orientation because of all the fixtures on the pad and stuff. Okay. Question.
Tower and all of the
Question. Oh, it says it's because of the launch umbilical tower, which the shuttle does not have. There's no launch umbilical tower there. It's a fixed service structure to the side, because if they put it over there, the shuttle would hit it on the way up. I don't know, maybe. I gotta hear it one more time.
pad was designed for the Saturn V. The position of the service tower and all of the supporting infrastructure associated with it locked the space shuttle into this orientation.
No. If you rotated the entire launch pad, would you need to roll, though, assuming you're staying on the same heading? It was a mobile launcher. Saturn used the mobile launcher. The shuttle uses mobile launcher platforms. The shuttle integrates fixed service structures. Saturn uses launch umbilicals. A launch umbilical tower. That's not the reason, guys. I mean, the implication here is that the shuttle does a 180-degree roll every single time. That's 100% wrong. you have differential flight azimuth, right? You have differential flight azimuths depending on the mission. So sometimes the shuttle will go due east. Sometimes the shuttle goes due northeast. Sometimes it goes due southeast. It depends. Are you launching on your ascending or descending nodes? What type of orbit are you getting into? What's your inclination? What's the flight azimuth to get into different inclinations? Orbits, so like where the Hubble Space Telescope is, would require not a 180 degree roll. It would be like a 120 degree roll. Whereas a flight to the ISS would be like a 170 degree roll, or 130 or something, 140. The point is the shuttle flies to different orbits. It flies to different orbits every time. Now, what about it? What about the pad at Vandenberg? The shuttle's designed to fly with a flight azimuth of 170 for a polar orbit once around insertion. The Vandenberg pad, doesn't spin. Now, once again, it's not necessarily because of the Saturn V. He is right that the shuttle orientation is built in the same way because of Complex 39, but that's not to say that the roll program, the roll program is there, like, oh, they're locked in. You don't really turn pads. The reason why you don't turn pads is because that's a complicated thing to do. Why would you incorporate, like, the vehicle? This is what I tell people. The vehicle has to roll. It has to roll because you most likely made a vehicle that can launch not to the same exact freaking orbit every single time. Different rocket payloads have different destinations. And for something like the shuttle, you wouldn't want the shuttle to go into the same orbit every single time. Because once again, Hubble is not where the ISS is, right? Pretty straightforward stuff. So why wouldn't you rotate a pad? Well, you wouldn't rotate a pad because the vehicle already rolls. You need roll control. Every vehicle has roll control. Why wouldn't you just use the vehicle to roll? You're adding steps by making a rotatable pad. I don't understand why we would ever do that. Doesn't Soyuz pad rotate? Older versions of Soyuz do rotate the pad face because that predates back to a version of Soyuz where they couldn't figure out a way to get the vehicle to do a roll program due to the guidance systems. Modern versions of Soyuz do not rotate the pad. Absolutely not. Soyuz MS, Soyuz 21B, 21A, those do a roll program. Soyuz FG, the pad did rotate. But that wasn't because of some type of perceived, advantage here. That was because the time when that FG rocket was engineered, it was derived from a system where you would need to rotate the pad. Because for an ICBM, setting your flight azimuth and then just having the thing fly the same ascent every time is the right move. Like how you turn an artillery piece. That was the idea. Yeah, they weren't locked into the Saturn infrastructure. If they were locked into the Saturn infrastructure, they wouldn't have completely redone the pads. The shuttle required a clean mobile launcher platform because the shuttle slews off the pad because of differential thrust. Not differential thrust, due to an offset. The shuttle engine angle is an axial offset from the longitudinal axis of the vehicle. Now, what does that mean in plain English? The shuttle engines are tilted out to the side. When your rocket engine isn't pointed straight down, if your rocket engine's pointed straight down at gravity, you have your rocket engines pushing up, you have gravity pushing down, your rocket goes straight up, okay? If your engines are off to the side a little bit, right, by like 15 degrees offset from gravitational vector, right, you're not going to go straight up. You're going to go a little bit sideways, right? But most of the rocket engine's thrust is being used to push up. Some of it is being used to push sideways. It's called a cosine thrust loss. Because of this, the shuttle went this way off the pad. It slewed towards the opposite side of the orbiter. So you slewed off the pad. If you did something like that with a Saturn V, it wouldn't end very well because there's a big launch umbilical tower in that direction. You don't want that. That's a bad idea. You'll hit that on the way up. So with the shuttle, they said, we can't do that. We'll put the vehicle in the same orientation, but that giant red tower is going to get in the way when we go to launch. See, Saturn V's engines are pointed right up through the center of gravity of the vehicle, so when you light the engines, it goes straight up. The shuttle couldn't do that. So what they did was they took those exact towers off of the Saturn mobile launchers, cut them in half, and put the other half on the side in the form of a fixed service structure. Shuttle had to have the shuttle had to have its structures on the side because when it lifts off, it goes that way. But yeah, to imply that they were locked in because the shuttle needs to do a roll program because they were locked into Apollo architecture, that's... No. No, not at all. I always thought the roll program was to help stabilize trajectory. Is that incorrect? It's... Okay, alright. Orbital mechanics time. Nerd time. This will help you in Kerbal Space Program. So if you're looking at Kerbal, I'll show you. So, okay, look. I don't know, Tessa, but the implication there is that the roll program, they couldn't do the roll program because they didn't want to rotate the entire pad, implying they could have rotated the entire pad, which is absurd. One rocket does that out of every single rocket flying, and that rocket is outdated. It's not used anymore. Alright, so, check this out. Brian, the roll program is done because if you look at 39A, 39A is perfectly north-south, right? You have a perfect north-south configuration. Does that mean the rocket's going to fly this way every time? No. It's not going to do that every time. Because if you did that, right? If you flew north at a KSC and did a 180-degree turn, take a look. You're going to find yourself in Charleston really, really fast. Right? Or Savannah, I mean, if you change the azimuth a little bit. But that's the entire point that I'm talking about. That's actually not a safe corridor. Your rockets aren't cleared to do a 180-degree roll program out of KSC. The range will not let you fly that trajectory. Absolutely not. Because of this. Right? Shuttle's maximum allowable vector out of KSC is basically that right there. 31 degree flight azimuth. Actually, I think it's 35 just to be safe. The reason why is, well, take a look. See what I'm talking about? Anywhere past the 35 degree vector or something beyond 150 degree turn or 145 degree turn, you're going to start running into problems here during your ascent. Namely, parts of the rocket flying over the most populated area in North America. Yeah, this whole part right here, yeah, you don't want that. That's why you can't do that. Can't fly on that trajectory. The range will not allow it. Maximum allowable is 35. Now, simultaneously, for the longest time, there was the same kind of thing going on down here. Right? KSC offered a 35 to 120 vector because there's these islands down here with people on them. But they've since laxed up on them and have proved other corridors. For instance, Falcon 9 flying out of KSC on a polar trajectory will do something like this. See what I'm talking about? It will fly out over and then basically go through this gap, right? Go through the gap between the Bahamas and Florida, and the drone ship will, the first stage will land on the drone ship somewhere out here in the strait between Cuba and Florida, and you'll go from there. So there are other corridors that have been opened. The reason why is because rockets go to different inclinations. The rocket, if you did 180 degrees out of here every time, the range would not allow it. They wouldn't let you do that. He was approximating for the sake of time. Man, Tessa, I really wish you guys gave me the benefit of the doubt like you're giving this guy. That would really, really eliminate a lot of wasting time in the stream. Just saying. For the most part, guys, though, Real Engineering's videos are close enough. They're good enough to get the point across, dude. The alerts aren't working? My alerts are working just fine, dude. Jeepers creepers, this thing sucks to fly. Yeah, Warp, that's kind of where I'm at. But it's all good. Like I said, his stuff's close enough to get the point across. It's fine. I just subbed and it didn't pop off or go off or anything. It's interesting, dude. I don't see any Twitch alerts here. Let me check Streamlabs. Was the F-104 actually used in combat? I'm not sure. Yeah, stream, I don't see anything, but hey, thanks for the resub either way. This F-104 is to scale battle, but it's not. The fuselage is too thick, so it ends up looking stubby, but it's the same size. This one is not battle ready. I didn't give it any guns. Did you see the picture from SpaceX? I found the answer. Use to intercept
Discovery.
enemy
Go
MiGs.
and throttle up.
Guys, the West Germany used F-104s for the longest time. I think so did Greece too. So I don't know if they were ever in combat, but I know they were fielded as planes. The F-104 basically became an export fighter in the U.S., like an F-5. There we go. Needed to reset. Found it. Needed to reset. My bad. All good, man. You ever doing some crazy stuff with an F-104? This plane's hard to fly, dude. I really don't like the F-104. I think it's junk, if you really want to know. The F-104 is a death trap. And it's not even, this plane is not a good idea. Now I see why you made an F-15 in KSP2 a while back. What? It's a Reliant Robin. Yep. Yep. We call them flying coffins. Yeah. It's not really the safest thing around. Had a great idea to eject the pilot downwards. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So my thing with the F-104 is that if you look at it, right? Oh, hey, baby. Here. If you look at an F-104, right? The F-104 is really sleek looking. But it has these really stubby freaking wings. Because it has really stubby wings, if you kind of take a look at the wings, they're kind of angled downwards a little bit. The angle of incidence on those wings is a little bit forward, right? So basically, when you're trying to bring this thing in for a landing, right, you have to rely on crazy angle of attack or crazy deflection over your horizontal stabilizers to get more of those wings exposed, so you can generate enough lift to not land at a really high speed. The thing is, you basically have to lock those wings into almost a gimbal lock position just to get the thing to land correctly. And basically what would happen is people would be flying it, you'd get to a stall condition during landing, right? And you'd go to pitch up, but your control surfaces are basically already pitched up. And you just fall out of the sky. And if you tried to eject, well, guess what? You're going to be paint splattered against the surface. Yeah, not the smartest thing. Look at the control surfaces. Now, they did make up for it with the F-104 with a variable angle of incidence, right? See the slot right there above the second 7? You can make up for it. Basically, you can trim your angle of incidence on the plane. Now, that does kind of make up for it, but also you're still running into those same problems. Yeah. It's a little bit dangerous to fly something like this. It's not very forgiving. Don't get me wrong, like, you can still fly it, but it's dangerous. That's dangerous, man. But you go fast, so that's good. Going fast is nice. Remember, speed is safety, altitude is insurance. Yep, there you go. Cool. Oh yeah, we made this thing. I wonder if this works still. Hold up, let's see. Let's take a look. Are we saying Kelly Johnson was not smart? No, not at all. It's just with the F-104, what it's designed to do, you have a trade-off, and the trade-off makes it a little bit less forgiving to land during descent. That's all. Hey, Jimmy. See you last, please. I'm good, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's freaking grid fins, dude. You also called the F-104 the Widowmaker? Yeah, it's very unforgiving to fly. If you get enough seat time in it, you'll be fine. But yeah, very unforgiving. It's a really hard plane to fly. And that, once again, I've never flown one. That's just basically what I've heard from pilot anecdotal evidence. And from what I've seen trying to make them in Kerbal, but that doesn't really count. Oops. That's not what you wanted at all. To the watery grave with ya. Yeah. Hey. She's intact. All right. All right, let's see if she can. Ready? Nope. Nope. Nah, we just lost a probe core. It's fine. Tell the gang to get the fishing poles. Man, I just wish we could. I wish we could turn the boosters around. That's another one of my big things with this. I really want to be able to turn the boosters around and land them. We have landing pads, man. Yeah, Pace, it's... Yeah, really easy to lose control of that thing. Real easy. Probably gonna have to wait for the multiplayer update. Yeah, I'll take the F-104. The F-104 just goes fast. It's easier to land though. Here, let's do a test with Triton. Every time we load up KSP, I always do a test with this thing, just to see. All right, ready? Let's see. Yeah, baby. Is that something attached to the fairing? No. What's the core size on this one? 10 meter. Those aren't necessarily attached to the fairing. They're attached to a part inside of the fairing and then gizmoed outside of the fairing. Any plans to have Triton use grid fins on the first stage? Well, since it eats my first stage right after I separate Nova, I don't really see the need. I would love to boost this thing back down and land it. That would be awesome. No, Jay, doesn't break the fairing, it's fine. Yeah, Captar, Urban does it because his boosters get above 70. That's not the best ascent trajectory, but it is possible. correct make. How much could this baby haul? It can move. Triton packs a punch, dude. I think it's like 300 tons or something. No, I don't think so, Mayor. The second something leaves, like, gets 1 or 2 kilometers away from you, it just eats it. Way worse than this, Wiser. That's for sure. Hey, human. Enjoying it so far? There's not really much change, Doom, to be honest with you. I'm just doing a bench test for Triton just to see. We are getting slightly improved frames, but yeah. No, it's my own design, Inky. I think that's what we should do, Nova, yeah. Yeah, this is a big freaking rocket, guys. Triton is my bench test for performance because it's a lot of parts. Here. What engines are these? Mammoth 2s. Let's see if we can get its AP up there. I'm curious. Game's broken. It's because it's an old craft file. No trajectory. Maybe it'll change when we stage. Alright, stand by for staging. Don't... Okay, there it is. Wait, where'd it go? It's gone. it's because it's an older craft, Blue Flare. Yeah. Oh yeah, the music's fantastic, Scruffy. But I don't have any problems with the music, you know. What do you think the biggest thing they need to fix is? Hippo, my editor controls would really... So, here's my thing, dudes. I don't mind the way the game is right now. It's tough for me to play it. Do I play the game like everybody else? No. Absolutely not. So I have to kind of think of that, Hippo, when I weigh in on it. You know what I mean? Like when I say, oh, the game needs better editor controls, or oh, I need to be able to, you know, switch back between ships flying in atmosphere. I don't want the game to eat my ship. I'm utilizing features that not ever, like the garden variety player isn't going to really use. You know what I mean? You missed the Space Dolphins piece from KSP1 a little bit, yeah. Yeah. For me, it's maneuver planning and orbital rendezvous that need the most work. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure there's going to be a career mode battle. They said that there's no currency in game, so I'm not sure how that's going to factor into career mode. Heck, science mode isn't even called science mode. It's called exploration mode. I'm pretty sure they had a spiel about that. True, but objectively, the new controls are not as accurate as KSP1. Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, Battle. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't really see them doing that with... Yeah. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Yeah, the editor controls definitely need some work. Okay, so you guys are seeing it too. It's not just me. I really don't like that they combine translation and rotation. That just feels wrong. Now, is that a personal touch? Yeah, probably. But also, I find myself grabbing, like trying to rotate stuff in the editor, and then I end up translating it. And then I find myself trying to translate stuff in the editor, and I end up rotating it. Right? And then there's no way to lock it back into place because we don't have absolute snap, right? Also, like every CAD program that I've ever used separates translation and rotation. I don't... Yeah, Josh, that choice with that really just feels like they changed it just to say that they changed something. But I could be wrong. I'm sure there's a reason why they did it other than just, oh, well, I don't like it this way, let's do it this way. I don't think I've ever encountered a CAD program where you had one keystroke to be able to enable translation and rotation at the same time. But I could be wrong. They have said no money. It'll be resource focused. Oh. But then again, why change it if it works? That's... Yeah, I think they should have just kept the same editor Warline, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sold on being able to just switch the editor between the SPH and the VAB, like by just clicking... What? Oh, this one right here. Like, these controls just are really, really clunky. And I don't think it's anything that's not on their radar, but like, see, I'm trying to center my camera on the rocket right now, and I can't. Like, to do that, you middle mouse over things. But, okay, cool. We middle mouse over here, but now I want to move the camera again, and it snaps back into position. See what I'm talking about? Like, since Kerbals are post-scarcity, resources are the main drive. Alright, Hassan. See you, buddy. Like, see what I'm trying to do? Okay, say I wanted to... Like, I'm not intentionally trying to make this hard to use. I've just... At first I was like, okay, you know, maybe I'll just get used to them. Like, I'd like to think that I gave this stuff a pretty damn good shot, right? Like, it's just clunky. And honestly, I'm... Like, where I'm at is, I'm kind of like, how do we push the envelope in this? I can't build crazy complicated vehicles. I mean, in the past and other saves, we, like, here, you know, actually, you know what? I got an idea. That gives me an idea. I want to try something. Okay. Let's test. Nope. I'm trying to see if I have any of my MLB first stage. Right?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Wolf. Yeah, guys, I want to make sure that it's not just, like, this is probably just me, but, like, it's hard to go and build stuff in the editor to the point where I remember very distinctly like that it was stressing me the heck out, and and maybe it's me, maybe I just need to suck it up. Like I don't know, it could be that. But like I always have like, oh man, it would be really cool. Like I want to build a shuttle in KSP2 because they put re-entry in the game, but I can't. We can't do panel tessellation. How can we even try to do that? We can't even remotely even get close to building something like that. Unless I want to hand tweak everything, right? Which I suppose you could. Like, I'm like... I'm struggling to jump in, and I know good and well we got to be patient, give it time. Like I'm not saying don't ever play it, right? It's just it's hard to jump into. It's like Kerbal 1 I could jump into and we could play it for hours. I'm struggling to figure out like what I should do here. You know? Like I suppose we could just do the science missions, but like I run into like the game. Like, even with the science stuff, it's like... I don't know, maybe we need to go experiment with that even more. That save's broken. Yeah, I mean, it's loading an old save in early access. That's gonna happen. You know, like, that's bound to happen. I get it. Yeah, it's like... We did a couple of science missions. The science missions are cool, but it got to the point where I realized that it's just landing on it. It's just going and finding anomalies. It's not like, and yeah, you could generate science and stuff by doing crew exploration, but it seems like the main purpose of R&D isn't necessarily about like science and exploration. It's just figuring out these anomalies, which I get it. They're trying to build the lore. They're trying to give, if I had to guess, they're trying to give you a reason to want to build colonies and whatnot, which is fine. That's cool. If I had to guess. So like basically, you know, you gotta wait and see how that feature kind of figures in, but yeah, no, like Drummer, I talk to them. I give them feedback. So like that's why I'm saying just wait it out. That's why I've been saying wait it out for a long time. Just wait it out, dudes. Like we'll get there. It's just yeah, it's hard to yeah, Snow, I think that's a good way to say it. Right now it feels like I'm forced into playing only one way rather than an infinite amount of possibilities I felt in KSP1. Yeah, it seems like you're kind of boxed in because it feels like you're boxed into building Kerbal X, Kerbal 10. Like, and once again, I get it. I understand, and they'll like I can't say this enough that they're probably going to change this. Like, it feels like this, right? Like, this is the style of gameplay that they want you to do. Like, this... hold on. Like, see what I'm talking about? Like, this is what... Yeah, Drummer, that's, like I said, there's no need to say to be fair. Like, I understand that that's where, you know, like, it's probably going to change. I get it. I'm not trying to badmouth anybody. Like, I think Intercept is doing just fine. I know this stuff takes time. It's just... I'm talking more about me streaming the game right now. It's just hard to... Like, we could check in on it when they update it, but yeah, it's super tough for me to jump into. You know? Like, I'm not bad-mouthing Nate or anybody in Intercept. I think they're doing a fine job. I know this is going to take time. I'm talking about me streaming it. It's really hard for me to stream this game right now. But the same was the case for KSP1. You're right. When I started playing KSP1, it took... I streamed it for maybe 3 hours, 3 times a week. I don't think I can squeeze the content out of this game like you can with KSP1. Because it's not feature complete yet. That's just early access, man. Right? Like... How far are you in story mode? I got to Duna and then I was like, oh, this is... Okay. This is good. Yeah, just gotta let it cook. I think it's hard to see the potential. It takes time to get there. Yeah. Yep. And you're correct. We know they're listening and taking notes, but because they are taking the NASA approach and not just implementing things to make features, it takes more time. Yeah. The game was supposed to... I mean, the pandemic screwed them all up, dude. Working from home, not working from home. That kind of messed with them a little bit, dude. And that's like right from themselves, like. But yeah, yeah. The patch seems good. You know, I noticed that you don't skip around as much when you're on orbit, which is great. That's good. I'm cool with that. Game deadlines always slip. Yeah, I mean, I don't use they said we were going to get this in 2020 and we don't have it anymore. I don't use that, every game is delayed, man. I'd rather the game get delayed and then make it right, you know what I mean? And they are. It's just taking some time, that's all. You're going to run into problems that you're not going to, you're going to expand the scope, like KSP2 is Interstellar, right? That has a whole thing of problems associated with it that they're trying to solve. That's why we haven't really seen much progress. Seemingly we haven't seen much progress on new content for KSP because that's what they're working on. You know? Modding for KSP1 got you into 3D art. It was actually a Blender tutorial by you that got me started. Now I do it as a living. A Blender tutorial by me? I don't know how to use Blender, human, so I don't know how you did that. Are you sure it wasn't Maya? I don't know how to use Blender. You did Blender on stream? Are you positive? I don't know how to use that. Maybe at one point I did. I'd love to see you build an aircraft carrier. I did that in KSP1. I don't know how the heck you'd do that in KSP2. Felix, to be honest with you. It was ages ago. Use Blender once. Huh. Neat. Good for me. Well, I'm glad I could inspire you, I guess. More people are remembering this than I did. That's cool. That's neat. Bring back Modeling Mondays. Mayor, no one cares about Modeling Mondays. Everybody gets so gung-ho about me doing 3D art, and then I go to do it, and those streams never, ever do good. Ever. 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 I've never had one do good. Ever. So, I don't know what to tell you, man. Guys, let's play some Timberborn, dude. Let's finish up. We'll keep going with Timberborn.